what's that organisation? There's a whole organisation, isn't there, that just works to try and get convicted murderers out of prison.
Oh, of course, it's the Innocence Project. And
That's it. That's it.
how could it be bad if it has innocence in the title?
So
Are you against
something
innocence?
as sinister and
Mm.
malevolent as that. Because you've made a fair few videos about things. What was that ridiculous gang rape that took place in Central Park?
Well,
And they
well,
released
both.
all the, and the woman survived just about, didn't she? And
Yes.
didn't they release the guys and gave them, made them into some heroes in some way? I mean, that is truly perverse. That is where our
Yeah.
our sense of
Yeah.
justice, our very society has been perverted inside out to the point where it's
It's,
inside out.
I
So
can't
you're
believe
right.
it.
We're dealing with a beast of a thing
Mm.
here. Uh,
Well, yes. And look, that was one of my favorite gang rape murders, whatever. I covered it. It's the Central Park Five. They made a movie about it. It's astonishing. Like I want to do a poll and just ask people, like, do you think these guys are innocent or guilty? And the average American is going to say they're innocent because of the propaganda. I mean, look, no one has time to figure this stuff out. And what's even scarier, no one really cares. Like, do I really care? Why am I going to die on the hill that these guys did rape this woman and are guilty of it and they did admit to it? Why? If it cost me personally, like Donald Trump did this. Donald Trump at the time put out an article and said, these guys are, they're wilding out there. It's insane what they've done. We should bring back the death penalty because at the time he thought they had killed this woman. And this happened in Central Park, sort of in his area. And even to this day, he's like, I still think those guys are guilty. What are you talking about?
mm.
And that's correct. That's the correct stance. But most people will knee jerk. If you're against Trump, you'll just go, well, he's got to be wrong because he has to be evil. But yeah, they all became multimillionaires and they're celebrated. They're they receive standing ovations at award shows.
I mean, it's
They're gang
truly
rapists.
sickening, isn't it? Truly
Yeah.
sickening. Like Barack Obama or even Joe Biden giving
Mm.
medals out to people that are known to have gone to Epstein's Island. It's sort of, it's so brazen as well because all the information is out there. It's so brazen. It's, in my mind, to me, it's deliberate. It's sort of very deliberate gaslighting. It's
Now,
like
I've been to Epstein's Island, but that was just on a stopover. So does that count? Or
just a
I,
layover, just one night.
yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, Biden put out a speech the other day about Emmett Till. That was insane. He
Really?
he passed an anti-lynching bill
Yeah, so
a
that.
year ago,
Yeah, yeah.
which is the most redundant thing in the history of time. Like, hey guys, you know how you just took a guy out back and like strung him up and murdered him? Yeah, that's against the law. It has been against the law for quite a number of years, but now it's super against the law. Now we're going to throw you in jail even more. Like,
Yeah.
what? What? How can it be worse? I mean,
I mean, poor
but
you remember the case of poor old Jesse Smollett, though. I mean, come on, let's get real. No, but joking aside, it's
mhm.
funny though, isn't it, that in the Twitter timeline there seems to be quite a few cases of white people effectively being lynched by black mobs. It's not
Oh,
all that rare that you'll see a video of that pop up in your Twitter timeline. But thank
are you
God
are
the
you talking about
Biden
physically?
administration passed that piece of legislation. Thank
Yeah,
God.
exactly. I mean, and he color codes it too. So it's like lynching is really just something that happens to black people. Meanwhile, lynching has been a huge part of like, here's a phrase you're never going to hear, white history. Um, but like the history of the Old West and just, the foundation of America, white people were not immune to lynching and were lynched all over the gaff. So like, it's kind of insane. But yeah, just the way he resets the story of Emmett Till and, in 30 seconds, just lies through his teeth over and over again. And it's like, for me, it's neither here nor there, but I've seen this pattern way too many times. I
Mm.
don't care. In fact, I've avoided Emmett Till forever. And just like every other one of these cases, I assumed that was a racist thing that happened because that's all I heard through the grapevine. And it's been told. It's like a urban legend. It's like, why would I assume otherwise? What, the people that came before me, they're lying to me? That's a weird assumption. In fact, when you're raised from a child, from a baby on, you're taught to believe your elders, to trust them. And it turns out, no, you shouldn't be doing that. You're
Mm.
being lied to on all of these things,
Mm.
whether it's the Tulsa race riots or Emmett Till or the Central Park Five or, you name it. What gets crazy is when it's stuff that happened like a year ago
Mm.
and you're being lied to, or like there's a video of it.
Mm.
It's playing on the side.
Mm,
and people are lying about it.
mm, mm. Like, who was that guy recently that they tried to make out into sort of a new George Floyd type
Yeah.
deal, you
Oh,
know?
Tyree Nichols.
Yeah, that, or even what was the LA riots? Rodney King, for example. Like
Mm-hmm.
he did quite bad crimes and refused to be arrested, didn't he? Not that he deserved to be beaten ridiculously as he was, but he'd
Yeah.
done multiple felonies and was resisting arrest endlessly. I mean,
Well,
so
I know
uh,
it's bad. It's comparing the Tyree Nichols to Rodney King is an interesting one because the Tyree Nichols was way worse, but it's not going to get the traction, and it's already off the radar of the public consciousness because the cops were black and because they were arrested. And but the trial will come up, and if they do get off, which I mean, I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I think many of them should get off. Maybe not the guy throwing the punches. I mean, I don't know. It's a tricky thing because these other guys didn't stop him, and it was repugnant what they did to that guy. But like, he didn't lead them on a high speed chase. Rodney King did. Rodney King was physically resisting arrest. He was high on PCP. And what the cops in the Rodney King case did was far less brutal. And also, they didn't kill the guy. You know, like
yeah,
Rodney King was beaten up, but he didn't die.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, but it's the point you say about how something that only just happened, or there's
Mm.
full footage of it, and it's spun in such a way where reality has gone out the window almost straight away. Um,
So yeah, I mean, think of it. You know, we're historians, aren't we? Can we say that?
yeah, sure.
Um, so think of telling a lie or telling a story that happened a long time ago. The further back you go, the less oversight there is, the less likely it is that you're going to be checked on it, fact checked. So if I say to you, Moses parted the Nile, you're like, okay, I'll have to take your word for it, pal. I wasn't there. If I said to you that Joe Biden just flew off the podium and just soared into space, you'd be like, show me the video. You know, but we want to believe. What is that? The X Files slogan? People do want to believe, and they like the point of the story. The point of the story typically is to scratch an emotional itch, and
Mm.
it's doing that. It is working. We love stories, and facts tend to be ugly and uncomfortable.
There's one thing I wonder what you think about this idea, and I'm not talking about you or me, or even probably most of the people that are going to watch this video, but in a
Hmm.
broad sense, I think one of the problems white boys have got
Oh my God,
that,
that was a
that
slur.
that white men in the West
Okay.
have got is that
Hmm.
we're far too trusting, credulous, even to the point of naivete, to the point of where you have to be sort of endlessly shown that you're being naive to the point of
Mm.
self-destruction, and even then, a lot of people still won't accept it.
It
Um,
comes from a good place, I think. I mean, that's the
well,
best
yeah,
way. Well, that's giving them the benefit of the doubt, but it is weak and stupid. But they want to be accommodating. They want to be nice. They don't want to rock the boat. You know, it does make me uncomfortable. It does sound very weak. But like, yeah, in that same speech Joe Biden did about Emmett Till, he said lynchings happened all throughout our history. It's a dark, ugly past, and it was innocent men and women and children being lynched with ropes. Now, what he's saying there is that everyone lynched was innocent. I mean, it is a carte blanche, like exoneration of everyone hanging from a tree. Now, I understand the impulse to want to think that's true. In fact, I used to think that's true. If I saw a picture like that, I'd be like, well, that guy's innocent. Like, look, this evil mob of people did something. I have a news flash for you people, and I hate to be the bearer of this. They weren't innocent. Now, sometimes they might have been. Often, if not almost always, they were not innocent. Now, I understand extrajudicial killings is wrong, and there's a whole process, and it's not nice to kill people, even if it's in punishment. But like, it's so interesting to reflect on the desire for those people to be innocent. They're not.
that's an interest, isn't it? It's an interesting insight into the psychology of we moderns, because
Hmm.
most accounts I know of lynchings is that usually someone would come out of the courthouse having been
Hmm.
found guilty. And
Right.
instead of them being allowed to be led away either to prison or to an actual gallows, they would just then be taken by a mob and lynched. So,
Well, yeah, like in the Tulsa race riots, they were worried that this young black kid named Diamond Dick, who had just sexually assaulted a white woman in an elevator. They were worried that he was going to be lynched. One of the reasons they were worried is because a month prior, the same town had lynched a guy, and his girlfriend, maybe. It was like a Bonnie and Clyde thing because those two people had killed a cop, like a local cop. They'd killed him. They shot him in the stomach, and he was a white guy. But the town people were like, "We know you killed him, and now we're going to kill you." Now, this was like, the early 1900s. It's like things were done a little differently back then. But it's just been stigmatized to the point of lunacy. And it's,
Mm,
again, it's like a story. It's like there's a good guy and a bad guy.
mm,
And we're used to that. Like,
mm.
even in Star Wars, like, I guess in the final, what was it, Return of the Jedi, where it's like, was Darth Vader even bad? But like for the first two movies, like he's definitely the bad guy. Like you look at the way he's dressed. Like this dude is evil personified. Nowadays, of course, we have like Game of Thrones, where it's like there is no good or bad, really. Everyone's kind of bad, and that's more true to life. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that we enjoy villains and we enjoy saying, "What's the morality of this story? Who's the bad person here?" And then, what's that British sitcom that said, "Are we the baddies?" Where he's
Oh,
questioning it.
yeah, yeah, Mitchell and Webb. Yeah, he's
Right.
part of the Death's Head SS Panzer
Exactly.
Division. The Death's Head. Are we the baddies? Yeah.
I
But
mean, Antifa's got to have had that conversation at some point, right?
yeah, at what point? How do you not realise? But yeah, I think there is again. It's another interesting point of sort of human psychology, perhaps that this desire to make everything very black and white. There's a goodie and there's a baddie
Hmm.
in all narratives. And of course, you want to be the goodies. You want to be on the good side, and the baddies are not really human, and
Yeah.
you know deserve to be annihilated, really. And it's very very easy to write that sort of narrative, to sell that sort of narrative, and it's very very most humans are quite susceptible to that. It's easier that way, right? It's
It
easier
feels
if
good.
all our enemies are not really human. They're like foot soldiers in the Turtles. They're actually robots. They're not even real
Mm,
men.
mm.
So you can just kill them. You can just annihilate them. Um,
Well, I think that it's actually less about wanting there to be baddies than you wanting to be the goodie. And for there to be good, there has to be bad. So you have to show the distinction there. And so what this is something I call the Secretariat effect. Secretariat was a horse, famously won a race by like 22 lengths. And it wasn't the fact that he ran the race fast. It's the fact that the second place horse was so far back that it looked like this horse was like, flying at the speed of light. So if you're not a super fast horse, if you're not a goodie, you don't have to be. Don't worry about it. Just pretend that the guy next to you is really slow horse or really a baddie. So it's a strategy to say, I'm so much better than these people over here because they're fill in the blank, pro slavery. They're racist. I'm not. They are. But they're not. It doesn't matter. Just say they are. So this is what's going on. You are blowing smoke up your own ass. You are trumpeting your own horn. It's masturbatory. I mean, it happens all the time. I feel like I'm a pattern recognizing machine that's never turned off. And just watching humanity on the internet is a fascinating
hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
And it's just you're collecting data the whole time. And this is the one thing, like humans don't come out looking that great. Like we all have these tendencies, and the internet seems to stoke up the worst part of humanity.
It's like
It's on
virtue
display.
signalling, isn't it? Virtue
Yes,
signalling.
of
It
course.
seems like the West is, in some parts, we're not guilty of it particularly, but virtue signalling its way into its own grave.
But like imagine,
Suicidally virtue signalling, where
yeah,
your ancestral homeland is overtaken by foreign invaders, and you're happy to just virtue signal that you're happy with
welcome.
that. It's
Welcome refugees.
yeah.
Well, it's like, yeah, but the thing is it works. I mean, this is the thing to play devil's advocate. It's like, have you ever seen a boy band? Like you'll have One Direction come out and put out a song, and the theme is like, I love you just the way you are, with all your flaws. I find you to be perfect. And this song is written for them. And it's like, I love your muffin top and I love your, acne. And I love just the idiosyncratic quirkiness to you. You're beautiful. That got them laid. Now you can't deny that. Now, none of it's true, but it's like these are techniques that are used. So, you know, if you're at a pub and you're going to say something like about I don't know, the grooming gangs or the disproportionate rape in your country, like it's not gonna, the girl you brought out is gonna look at you and go, "Oh God, oh, did you have to like you spoiled the night again? Like, can we not do this?" So someone has to do it at some point. That's the thing.
Hmm.
Like I understand there's social settings where this is totally inappropriate to talk about, baby rape in South Africa, but like someone should be doing it somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's fallen to people a bit like
Right.
us, really,
Yeah.
Devon. I mean,
Geniuses.
that is the sort of crusade you've been on since the start, isn't it? It's saying that this is uncomfortable, but it's the goddamn truth. Like, this is hard to hear.
Yes.
It's hard to say. It may even be dangerous, either financially or actually, for me to
Hmm.
be saying it.
Yeah.
It may make me very, very unpopular in certain circles, but god damn it, it's the truth, and no one else is saying it. I'm going to say it.
To watch the full video, please become a premium member at lotuseaters.com.